Hello there, welcome to Talking Balearics, the podcast where we explore the latest news, culture and stories from across the Balearic Islands. My name's Martin.
You've scripted that, haven't you?
I have, yeah. My name's Martin Makepeace. I'm in Ibiza, a very warm Ibiza, and this is my co-host, Richie Pryor.
Thank you for a great introduction, and I'm in a cupboard at the minute, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, you look like you're in a bit of a
place on my terrace, unfortunately. But anyway, there you go.
Are you at the radio station, Rich?
I'm in the radio station. I'm in between jobs, as they say.
It's getting busy, isn't it, Rich? I've had a really, really busy week. I've got a group over this weekend. I've got people coming tonight. It's all going off, isn't it, really?
Well, funny enough, I've written about it this week, actually, how busy the island is already and how diverse it's become and everything else. So I did want to talk a little bit about that today, actually. Also, I wanted to talk about, an interesting thing that Jet2 have come up with. I don't know if you've seen this story, that I think you might find interesting and sort of goes with what I've been talking about as well.
Yeah.
And a bit around Mallorca news, of course.
Okay.
And a bit of news from my two sons as well. I think I'd like to partake in as well, please.
Of course, mate. Please. It's the family show, Rich, isn't it? Let's face it. I've got my three items this week, Rich. I've got booking.com. I've come up with a bit of a report, which is quite fascinating and just says where we are in the world at this moment in time. We've got the International Music Summit in Ibiza this week, which is a big industry affair. And it leads on because it's the club opening week as well. And also we've got the club awards last week. So I'm going to jam three items into one there, Rich. And also a little bit of breaking news about the passport control, which is very interesting. I'm not sure if you've got this at your end as well. It's just some inside information. I don't know how true it is, but things are changing, Rich. So, let's talk about that.
So this is something that I've blogged about this week, and I sort of have looked at Mallorca over the last couple of weeks, actually. But interestingly enough, obviously I'm involved in the radio business. I'm involved in a few excursions, and I've got a concierge business as well. So I sort of see it from all different angles, really, to be perfectly honest. And I was in Valdemossa at the last weekend, which is a beautiful part of Mallorca. If you ever have the opportunity to go and visit Valdemossa, I would thoroughly recommend it. And it was packed it was a Saturday morning, and you couldn't move for people, which obviously is, if you're a person of the said village, you're probably not too happy, although unless you own one of those nice little cafe bars or artisan shops or whatever. But as I say, it was full of tourists on Saturday, and we're already talking about mid-April, of course. But I sort of found that interesting, and then I sort of looked at across Mallorca, and I do see Mallorca a lot busier sort of now in April than I've probably ever seen it before, if the truth be known. Going round to lots of different bars and restaurants and cafes in Magaluf and Palma, all looking very busy. Particularly in the afternoons, early evenings, with people eating. And then I also interviewed this week, interestingly enough, a guy called Gary Napier. Gary is a guy who runs a company called Street Angels. They are a company that look after people in resorts like Magaluf, in the height of summer, people that have maybe lost their way or lost their friends or can't find their way back to the hotel, might be a little bit drunk or whatever. Do you know what I mean? These guys sort of pick them up and take them back to where they think they're going to be, or just sit by them and look after them, while they gently recover. A nice thing to do, all voluntary, of course. But interesting enough, Gary said to me, he said, you know what, Richie said, over the last 5 years, Magaluf has changed. And I said, what, changed for the worse or the better? He said, oh, no. He said, definitely the better. He said, our work has become less and less frequent. And I said, obviously that's in a positive way. He said, yes, of course. He said, we don't want to be doing the stuff that we do, morning, noon and night. We, because it's not healthy for either us or the people. But he said it has dramatically decreased, particularly how the resort has changed, as we've been talking about throughout these blogs throughout the course of the year. And then I sort of said to myself, you know what, it's like that sort of, in Magaluf and Palma, but it's like that across the island. When we were talking about the hotel chains, and Mandarin Oriental coming to Mallorca is a breakthrough, I think, in hotels. When I looked across at the top 5 or the top 6, it was actually most luxurious hotel companies, that I found that obviously Mandarin Oriental are one of them. St Regis were another. We've got a St Regis hotel here. Belmond was another one, and we've got a Belmond up in Daya, of course. Jumeirah, we mentioned, of course, up in Soyer as well. And then the Four Seasons, of course, is another one up in Formentor. So the diversity of the islands is becoming greater, which I think is good. And then this past week, I've sort of taken inquiries from Americans, from Canadians, people from Singapore, of course, across Europe as well, but not just the normal UK, German, Spanish market that we come to expect. So I see Mallorca changing. I see it changing in a positive way. And funny enough, I came out of my apartment the other day, and I always looked to the sea. Do you know what I mean? And I saw a mast poking up over one of the houses. I thought, it can't be a mast, surely. And in fact, it was. It was a motor yacht called the Maltese Falcon. I don't know if you've heard of this particular boat. It's a privately owned yacht that's worth. It's 88 meters, which is 289 feet. Yeah, it boasts the tallest. I was asking somebody about this today, and they said, as far as I remember, it boasts the tallest masts in the whole of the world, and it's worth between $75 and $100 million. And it's parked in Port Adriano, and there it is, and there's the mast. I found that fascinating. You know that obviously, you know, we all know we get very, very nice yachts come here and moor here or sort of go off around the islands and everything else. But to come here this early in the season as well, I thought it was great. You can actually charter this if you wish, Mark.
Yeah, I saw it. I've seen it, mate. Yeah, $490,000 a week, isn't it, mate?
There you go, $490,000 a week. Come on, Mark. You're a man of passport. You know, have passport will travel, as you told me last week.
Yeah, I miss it. I mean, I might be able to afford a couple of minutes on there, Rich. I mean, you know,
unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable.
I'm just looking at pictures now, Rich. I've never seen that one before, but it looks incredible. 289 foot is a serious boat, mate. That is so a serious vessel. He won't appreciate me calling it a boat. So a serious vessel. Listen, let me just pick up on a couple of your points there, Rich. First of all, busy is exactly the word I would use for Ibiza. I was out and about all weekend. We had a couple of charity dues on. I went to dinner in Ibiza town on Saturday night. I was out walking on Sunday, and I've got to tell you, Rich, it felt like June. It really did. There was lots of boats in the water. Ibiza town was buzzing. You know, the bars were busy. I couldn't quite believe it, Rich. I've got to tell you, I was like, wow, I've never seen it this busy. Obviously, we're going to put that down to a few things, and I'll come on to my next item at booking.com. Same as you, Rich. I find the islands are diverse now. We've got the pensioners are still here with Immerso. We've got the IMS here, which is the International Music Summit, which is music industry. We've got that low season tourism, which we all know what that is. It's probably middle-aged to older age tourism at low season. And we've also got people coming over for opening parties. So we've really got a real diverse mix, Rich. It really is. And I think, like you, funny you said about the Street Angels, we have in San Antonio, we have 24/7 Ibiza, which is a Christian charity, which is exactly the same as Street Angels. So, you know, they do a fantastic job, all paid for, all by donations, all by, you know, same. Doesn't cost anyone anything apart from the good people who put the money in. And, you know, I just think it's going to be one of those years where, you know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were going, we don't know what's going to happen. Is it going to be busy? What's going to happen? All of a sudden, I just feel the islands just come up, haven't they? You know, the last 3 or 4 weeks. And, you know, my villas are almost fully booked already, Rich, and we're not even out of April yet. So it's exciting times for the Balearics.
Can I just mention also that the Street Angels do have a charity event coming up this weekend here in Mallorca. It's called the Manuel Cup. And basically, it's a big footy tournament for both kids and adults. And they organise it for Cancer Support Mallorca, Yachting Gives Back, and themselves, who, as you know, is a Christian registered charity as well. So if you want to get yourself down to Sonferrer Football Club on Sunday from 12 midday onwards, they're playing down there. My eldest son's playing, actually. They asked me to play, but my footballing days, unfortunately, are over, Mark.
I would pay to see you play football at this age, Rich. I just think it'd be hilarious. You know,
I'm thinking, hilarious. Do you know what, actually? Seriously, and I'm being serious about this. I think you're taking up walking football. It's a thing, you know.
I know it is. I saw it the day, Rich. But Rich, why don't you just take up walking instead? It's easier. You know.
Well, I have started, as you know,
I know. You've got the charity bike ride soon as well, which we can.
The charity bike ride. We'll talk about a little bit closer to the time. Yeah. Thank you,
Rich. Moving on from talking how busy the island is, a good segue there, because Booking.com have just come out with a report, and according to their data, searches for accommodation in Ibiza have increased by 36% compared to this same period last year, which is pretty dramatic, really. The surge in online searches suggests that demand for Ibiza as a travel destination remains really strong, which we know that anyway. And even despite the rise in travel costs across Europe and the pressure on households, Ibiza and the island continues to attract huge interest. Now, what they're saying is that the price isn't the most important factor, which we kind of known that for years, Rich, haven't we? You know, back in the day in the bucket in Spade, when it was all about bums on seats, it was all about where if we got 300 quid for a square deal or whatever, then we'll go wherever the travel agent tells us. But now price isn't the most important thing. And they just say that Ibiza's unique mix of beaches, nightlife, culture, and gastronomy, which is featuring very high these days, is just keeping it on the wish lists of a lot of people. So, you know, you're a bit of a dinosaur when it comes to technology, Rich, aren't you? You know, I know that because I have to text you every day and tell you what to put on your Insta stories. However, they're saying, interesting enough, that technology is playing a really big role now, and this is going to feature heavily going forward, Rich. So we might as well jump on the train, mate, because it ain't stopping anytime soon. And what they're saying is that travel platforms are using AI, artificial intelligence, to recommend destinations, hotels, and experience tailored towards your algorithm and what you like. So, you know, really, it's a whole different ball game now going forward, and people are just getting bombarded with offers all the time. And Balearics are ticking the boxes now. I don't know if you saw that I had an interview with Humphrey in Mallorca. I don't know if you've read it, Rich. I know you're a busy boy.
No, I have read it, actually, yes.
I actually thought it was good. You know,
yeah, it's good.
I'm not usually into those kind of things, but I thought he did very well there. But the reason why I mention it is because I specifically said in that interview that the 4 islands have got something different to offer. I mean, how lucky are we to be in these 4 islands, which are completely different, which means we're attracting different dynamics from different directions. So, you know, if Ibiza was exactly the same in Mallorca, we'd be in a bun fight, wouldn't we, Rich? But we're not. We're a million miles away from each other. And Mallorca's a million miles away from Formentera, and Menorca's a million miles away from Ibiza. So we really are in this privileged position, especially with what's happening in the rest of the world, which I'm not going to go into in detail because we all know what's happening. It's just, I think 2026, Rich, is going to be one of those years. I really do.
I agree. And sort of segueing on from that, Mark, this is something I noticed coming in from Jet2. Jet2 has announced the launch of its first ever business class travel layout on an aircraft. Wow. The Boeing 737-800, which will be used from Liverpool, is available for charter between October 2026 and May 2027, and meets customer demand for greater privacy and comfort. Basically, it will be most 737-800s have seats for 189. This is going to be for 76 people, basically.
Okay.
It will also cater for different catering needs. Catering options are available on board as well. So it just goes to show that, you know, a company as Jet2, which we sort of obviously look at as, you know, your archetypal bucket and spade Jet2 holiday, you know, no airs, no graces. They're a fantastic company, but they know what they're there for. Do you know what I mean? And that they are obviously the biggest tour operator, as we know, 3rd biggest airline. But they're now looking down the route of business travel, which I find fascinating.
They're reacting to the market, Rich, is as simple
exactly.
as that. They wouldn't be doing that unless there's a market there. Now, They're going on feedback. They're thinking themselves, you know, funny, when I was in America not so long ago, Rich, I flew from between Los Angeles to New York. That's where I flew because I was getting a connection. And I went on a flight which I'd never been on before. And I think we're talking about similar things. Only about 80 seats on there, Rich, but it was all business class all the way. I think it was 2 and 2, or was it 3 and 3? I can't remember. But it was the whole of the front cabin was business class, and the whole of the back was economy. But there was only about 80 seats on there, Rich, and it was a normal size plane. I was like, wow. Obviously, that's where the money is, where people want to pay that little bit more, fill the seats up, feel a little bit special, probably champagne on board or salmon sandwiches or whatever. And there's a market for it, Rich, there really is. And I think the market is the Balearics. It really is.
I agree, and well, I think this is available to all destinations.
Yeah.
So it's based up in Liverpool, but I think it's a fantastic idea. As you say, it goes to show what they've done. If you knew this, Mark, but years ago when Jet2 sort of first started, they used to deliver the Royal Mail.
Right.
So what they used to do was they used to obviously do their charters throughout the course of the day. Then at night they used to clear out all the seats. Then they used to deliver all the Royal Mail throughout the night. And then the next morning, put the seats back in again, and off they fly to do the charters again.
Okay.
Clever business.
You're doubling up, aren't you? You really are.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, Jet2, they are the biggest tour operator now to the Balearics by far, probably to Europe, I would imagine, from a British.
Biggest tour operator in the UK, definitely, and
for sure,
third biggest airline. So
I mean,
going in the right direction, but a nice diversity for them, I think, as well.
Interesting that they're basing it in Liverpool as well. That'd be interesting. So, I mean, those Scousers know how to live, don't they? Let's face it. So, all you Scousers, I want you to see on the first class cabin in Jet2 on Instagram. That'd be funny, wouldn't it?
Brilliant.
IMS, Rich, International Music Summit. And we speak about it every year, but it's always worth a mention because basically it's probably 1,000 industry bods. When I say industry, I mean music industry. It was a brainchild of amongst others, Pete Tong and Simeon Friend, Danny Whittle, who's very well known over here. I've done a couple of podcasts with Danny and a few others. It really takes over the island for a few days. So it starts tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And they finish off with this amazing party in the Old Town, the Dolt Villa, right at the top of the Old Town. They do an amazing party, which is probably it's already an iconic party. But the IMS brings in, you were saying, a diverse market. I mean, it brings in the first of those real industry types. And there's a lot of parties going on around it. And I saw that 528 are doing a party on Saturday, which will be very good, somewhere that my son works at. And the club opening week as well. So you've got High opening this weekend, Ushuaia. So it really is a very exciting time. And, talking about the busyness of the island and the business of the island, I've got to say, Rich, this weather is helping. It really is helping because I was with a friend of mine the other day who's got a bar. I won't say what bar it is on the Sunset Strip. And he said it was the best Easter takings they've ever had. And we said, remember that Easter was just incredible, wasn't it? It really was. So International Music Summit, I'm going to go down on Thursday and have a look. They suggested that we do a podcast live from there, but I said our budget doesn't stretch enough for Richie to come over on a private jet, I'm afraid. In fact, it doesn't even stretch for Richie to come over on a pedalo. So, maybe next year, but I'm going to go, no shame. I'm going to go down and have a look at it and see how it goes. But again, it's exciting time. It's very industry rich, I've got to tell you. When you know what music industry types are like. It's networking. If you know what I mean, networking, a lot of partying.
The world travel market, you mean?
It's very similar to the world travel market, but with a lot more attitude.
Okay. There's a question I've always wanted to ask this. 528, yeah?
Yep.
It's the numbers 528 together, is that right?
It is, yes.
So does that mean it opens at 528, or does that mean it's from 5 in the evening till 8 the next morning? Or what is the meaning of said 528?
Well, 528, first of all, Rich, you would know it as Gala Night or Fantasyland. Remember where we used to take where we used to take the footballers after the reps football match back in the day for the drinks,
Because it was the cheapest place.
Yeah, we used to go there for drinks, didn't we, after the football match, yeah? So it's been taken over by the Ibiza Rocks group, and it's a good question, Rich. It was called 5 to 8 because it opened in COVID times, and that's the time it opened, 5 to 8.
Okay, fine.
Or 7:55 p.m. to be precise.
That wouldn't work, the name.
No, but now it's a daytime venue. It has to close, or the outside has to close by 11 because that's the law nowadays, 11 o'clock for these bigger places. And then it goes inside. If you remember, Rich, we probably never went in there, but it's got a big indoor discotheque area. So basically at 11 o'clock, everyone goes inside and carries on to the early hours. So it's probably the breakout venue from 25, and it's probably going to consolidate that for 2026. So I'm expecting it to be a very good year. And my son works there, so I get all the information, and it's very, very busy, Rich. And also it's age appropriate for us, Rich. I mean, if you were to come over, then it's probably where we'll go for a drink. Well, after going to the pub to watch the football, of course.
I don't know if this has been mentioned this before, Mark. Stop me if we have. Fitz nightclub is set to take over the former venue known as Leo in Palma.
Okay.
Fitz Nightclub is the company that have nightclubs in both Madrid and Marbella.
What's it called, Rich? Fitz?
Fitz, yeah, Fitz.
Okay.
Fitz.
Okay,
Fitz
never heard of that. Never heard of that.
They're in Madrid and Marbella, apparently, and they're set to open by mid-July. The development confirmed ahead of Easter, but not publicly disclosed until now, have been the subject of speculation for several weeks. And apparently that is the company that's taking over. That'd be interesting. There's also I don't know if you've heard of the Social Club, which was a club that was very famous on the Paseo Marítimo, but had to close because of all the changes that were being made to the Paseo Marítimo. But they're now setting up at the old Victorias as well. They're due to open, I think, at the end of May. I'll check on that because I know the owners. And so that's going to be two very, very good. Well, I don't know too much about Fitz, but I know Social will be a fantastic club because it was before. Let's see, because the Paseo needs a bit of life to it.
It does. It's gone very stale, hasn't it, Rich?
It's lost its life.
Very stale.
Obviously, some is due to the lack of parking. Of course, we know that. So I'm hoping that the Social and this Fitz company will bring more life back into the Paseo, because you're right, it definitely needs it.
It needs it, and Mallorca deserves it, Rich. I mean, I love Mallorca, but you are missing a little bit of a super club and a bit of fun at the moment, because
I agree.
We've almost got too much, and you haven't got enough, have you, over there? So
that's true.
I'm being honest about that. I mean, but I'll probably I don't. I love Mallorca; it's an amazing island, but you're just missing a little bit of fun, aren't you? I mean, it's all very serious with the gastronomy and the beautiful walks and the nature and everything, but as Ibiza shows everyone, basically there's no substitute for going out having a few drinks with your mates and enjoying yourself, whether it be buying a bottle of champagne or a few beers in the pub. So talking about buying champagne, Rich, DJ Mag Top 20 Clubs 2026 were announced last week. We mentioned it going on from what you said about the Fitz Club there. So let's hope the Fitz Club Mallorca appears in this list for next year. But top 20 Ibiza, please report. We've got 6 in the top 20, Rich. And number 1, Rich, you know what I said. I did call it, didn't I, when it opened? I said it would be, it was obviously going to be there or thereabouts. So the number 1 club in the world is
Universe.
Absolutely, Rich. It didn't take a brain surgeon to work that one out. But is it a club, Rich? Is it a festival? What is it? I mean, I would argue that it's so big and it's such a experience, but can you call it a club? I suppose you can, can't you? But so Universe was 1. Green Valley in Brazil was 2, which I've never heard of. 3 was Ushuaia in Ibiza, so congrats to them. And 4 was High Ibiza. So basically, Palladium Group, which owns a lot of these clubs, they've got 3 out of the top 4, which isn't bad, is it? Amnesia was 12th. The Pasha was 16th. DC 10 was 17th. So the big 6 Ibiza clubs are all in the top 20, which is fantastic for us. It really is. And as it goes on, we've almost got an embarrassment of riches when it comes to nighttime activity, Rich, we really have. So let's hope Palma can follow suit.
A bit of sad news, Mark. You would have heard of Tom Brown's restaurant, I'm sure. Now down on Magaluf Beach, they used to be on the second line as well, but their main one is now down on Magaluf Beach. It's a huge restaurant. It's well known throughout Mallorca. Has been there since 1982, no less, serving. And the founder and owner of the well-known venue has sadly passed away. A couple of days ago, April the 19th, at the age of 93.
Wow!
So
good innings, mate. Good innings.
Yeah, condolences go to all his family and friends. The restaurant does remain open. As we were told, it was what he would have wanted. But it's an institution in Mallorca, Tom Brown's. Whether you go there for breakfast or your lunch or your dinner, or just go for a drink now, because you can go for just a drink there these days. Yeah, sad to hear that. So pass on our condolences to Jason and everybody who's connected with Tom Brown's restaurant.
Well said, Rich. Well said.
Mallorca, Mark. We must talk about football, of course. Real Mallorca have won another game. Oh, we talked about it. We've talked about it. We won another game, I think, already.
I thought you're not playing till tomorrow because of the Copa del Rey, aren't you?
Exactly. No, we're playing tonight.
Tonight, is it? Right.
Tonight is Tuesday when we're recording this. So tonight we're playing Valencia, because it was Copa del Rey at the weekend. Sorry, we talked about last week. It was 3-0, wasn't it, against Rayo? So so we've got tonight we're playing Valencia to kick off at 7:00 at the Son Moix. Get 3 points. We'll go above Valencia in the league. We could get up to as high as 12th, actually, if the results do go away. So let's see. I've got a couple of long-term injuries. Raya is out for the rest of the season. We also have Luvumbu. Yeah, I remember I talked to him about Luvumbu last week. He played really well against Raya. He's got a hamstring problem. He's going to be out for 3 or 4 weeks, unfortunately. Although we do have Jan Vachili that can take his place as well. Yeah, listen, we are in a good position, but we need a couple more wins, I think, to pull ourselves away from the relegation zone.
You're only 2 points above the relegation zone, Rich, aren't you? So you can't get just because you're that high in the table, you can't get lulled into false.
No. I mean, before we played Raya, we were in the relegation, and obviously just beating them put us into 15th place, no less. So it can change quite dramatically very quickly. So it's very, very important that we do get a win this evening. And talking of winning, but not for Mallorca, my son's team Palma beat Real Mallorca at the weekend by 2-0. My son played; he was very happy. Obviously, 1 to keep a clean sheet against Mallorca, and 2 to beat them. I don't think there's many times, I'll have to ask my son actually, he's ever actually beaten Real Mallorca in any sort of a game, because they are the traditional strongest team in most leagues that teams play in over here. So it was a great result. They won by 2-0. And so big shout out for my youngest, and also a big shout out for my eldest, who's just passed his UEFA C coaching license as well. That's what he wants to become. He wants to become a coach. So he's going to start his UEFA B in May. So
great news. I saw your post, mate. Well done, Jake. And was it easy? I mean, was it difficult? How did he do it, Rich?
It's quite. I'm surprised how long it was actually.
Yeah.
It was 9 months, which was mostly done online. Over Zoom calls and stuff, but then there was about 3 or 4 practical sessions out on pitches with other coaches, and you had to put sessions together yourself and everything else. This entitles him to obviously become a grassroots trainer or coach, whatever. If you get to the B, you then can be a semi-pro team. Get to A, you could be an assistant coach to a Premier League team. You kind of manage a Premier League team with the A license, and then you go to pro license, which is obviously where you go. So there's 4 steps. Quite a long way to go yet, but that's what he wants to do. I wish him luck. It's not an easy industry to get involved in, but let's see.
But as we've seen, Rich, a lot of non-players are really going for it, aren't they, with the coaching badges? So, not all the ex-pros make the best managers. So, the youngster ones coming through, you never know, Rich. That's fantastic. Congratulations to both your lads. That's great, especially Real Mallorca. They weren't on the beach, were they, Real Mallorca?
They lost last week. That's 2 games in a row they lost. They lost to the team that's actually, I think is going to win the league, which is Peñarabal. They were 2-0 up against Peñarabal, cruising, and they lost 3-2 in the the last 20 minutes.
Yeah,
so I think
strange, isn't it, for Real Mallorca? That
it is
very strange.
Put them off their kilter a little bit.
Yeah.
Jude's team played very well at the weekend to win by 2-0. They're in Minorca this weekend. If anybody's over in Minorca listening, then my son's team Palma playing CD Minorca, 4:00 on Sunday.
Yeah, we get a lot of listeners from Minorca, Rich.
I'm sure, Mark. They're clamouring.
That Mr. and Mrs. Smith from Thweeterdella always.
Surely our mate Simon's listening, no?
Now and again, maybe, now and again. Last one for me, Rich. Last week I talked about our passport control campaign. Funny, I was in Dublin this week, went to Dublin, 24 hours in Dublin. I've got to say, fantastic place to go, Rich. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm going to pull you up on something, actually. Yeah,
okay. Go on, mate. Go on.
Splitting the G. You were nowhere near the G. What are you talking about?
I think I was, Rich. But I mean, listen.
I'd get VAR on that.
In my opinion, I split the G. However, I mean, got to say, a great place, Dublin. Fantastic 24 hours with my eldest son. It's one of the friendliest places I've ever been, Rich. I mean, it's not cheap, by the way. I think it was about 10 euros a pint of Guinness at the end we were paying in Temple Bar. But great. Coming back, I was really interested to see how we got through passport control. And guess what? There's a big residence sign there, and I sailed straight through.
Really?
Yeah. But we were the last flight of the day, and it was only me anyway. But and the funny thing is, I went to the top of the queue, and I said to the guy, it's Palathia Nacional. I don't know if it's the same where you are, Palathia Nacional. Yeah. And I said, "Oh, this is a bit strange." And he went, "You're the guy who wrote into the paper, aren't you?"
Oh, nice one.
So first of all, it's good that our message is getting across. And he said, when it's quiet, it's no problem. It's when all the flights come in at the same time there's a real problem. And this is my point, because I hear on the QT, because we know that Greece now is opting out of the system, which is big news. And you've got to hand it to the Greeks. They know how important the British tourism is to their economy, don't they? So they've looked at it and gone, we're not having it. Even though Europe and Brussels are not happy, the Greeks won't give a monkeys, mate. They really won't.
No, the Greeks don't care. Greeks don't so much money anyway. They don't give them money.
Well, exactly, mate. Listen. They don't care, do they?
What are you going to do? Fine us? We can't pay that.
Yeah, we'll just put it on the bill, mate. We're not going to pay it, are we? I like it from the Greeks there. I've heard a little bit on the QT that Spain could be heading for a quiet climb down over the entry-exit system too. After Greece paused the system on several of its islands, and Ibiza inside suggested to me that the Guardia Civil are having meetings with IENA to talk about it, because the bottom line is, Rich, they can't cope. It's as simple as that. Now, if you think of our season, it's what, 4 or 5 months, out of season, no problem. But if you've got 8 or 9 flights all landing at the same time from the UK, it's going to be absolute chaos. One of the ideas from IENA, and I've got no love for IENA, by the way, who are the airport operator, they've suggested that people get held on the planes until the passport control queue becomes empty. Now, I mean, that's not going to work, is it? I mean, talk about stupidity. I mean, you've got 9 planes at one time. What you're going to have is someone on the tarmac for 2 hours and all the drunken hooligans inside on the whatever flight going mad. So it was reported last week that a Jet2 flight from Newcastle took nearly 2 hours to clear the queue. So my gut feeling, Rich, is that Spain, or maybe the islands, including us, of course, and the Canaries, will look at what Greece have done and will follow suit. There you go. That's my big prediction.
I had a group of people coming from Middlesbrough. It took them an hour and a half to get through.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing official yet, and no one knows. But now Greece have shown the way, and there's already rumblings from Ibiza Airport to say, well, actually, we can't cope. Spanish are like the Greeks, mate. If it affects their economy, they're going to go, listen, sod Brussels. We're going to do what we're going to do, and we'll speak to you about it later. So, I say nothing's official yet, but don't be surprised if something happens soon to do with just the British flights changing and not that biometric. So there you go. There's my exclusive for the week, Richie. There you go.
That's it, Mark.
Me done, mate. Yeah. Listen, what have you got on for the week? You busy?
Busy all week. Yeah. It's busy. We've got the boat show next week, so we'll have a talk about the boat show next week, because we talk Tuesday. We're live. We're doing live broadcasts from the boat show on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're with Warren Maritime next Wednesday. We're with Precision Marine on Thursday, and we're with Naughty Parts on Friday. So
fantastic.
Busy week next week.
Yeah, listen, I love boats, so I'll be looking forward to hearing to that, mate. Yeah. All right, Rich, listen, have a great week, buddy.
And you take care, Mark.
Speak to you soon, mate.
Bye-bye.
Make me dance.